A visual diary from Assam to Bhutan. A memorable flight from Delhi to Gulwati with amazing views of the snow-covered mountains of the Himalayas and Everest towering up on the horizon. The plane followed this range for a long time. The air was clear and we flew at a low altitude above the white sanded river tributaries making their way south from the high mountain range. Loud, unusual bird sounds greeted us. From there, a long road journey to Kasaranga Nature Reserve, where the one-horned rhinos are protected. Rice fields, jungle, and endless small villages. People strolling in vivid green and pink saris. Lilac water hyacinths along the roadside, with villagers going about their daily business. Slow, slow. Lots of time for sitting and pondering. Intense late afternoon sunlight falling on the occasional brightly painted houses. Viridian, turquoise, lime green. Kasaranga, beautiful large-winged butterflies, exotic birds and animals, hog deer, elephants, wild boar, monkeys, water buffalo and rhinos, all protected in this huge watery park. A large lone male rhino comes out of a lake in the intense light just before sunset. At first distant and then very close. Huge, and the metallic grey of its hide looks like a suit of armour. After pausing, it walks ponderously into the dense, tall vegetation of elephant grass, totally camouflaged now. A carpet of elephant grass, with slender pink grass like flowers swaying in the breeze. Distant blue mountains. An unforgettable image. Wild Masir. Stepping back to the days of the British Raj, croquet still played on the lawn of the owner, tomato and cucumber sandwiches, bourbon and rich tea biscuits, cherry and almond cake, and bed tea at 6 a.m. In the tea plantations, a type of camellia with small, heavily scented cream flowers, interspersed by black pepper plants climbing up the trunks of the acacia tree trunks. They create much needed shade for the tea plants. Our long road journey continues up towards Bhutan, through still water and tea plantations, fishing everywhere, intricate, beautiful homemade fishing nets and lines, views of the snow-covered mountain range along the Chinese border, and rich Venetian red soil. No rush, everything slow. The Hindu River Festival, where everyone comes to bless their food. into Bhutan and a long, winding, slow journey up into the mountains. Lots of heavy traffic. 94 miles in 8 hours. The only road into eastern Bhutan from India. A rough, narrow, precipitous track with huge drops into the valley below. We pause. An old man comes out of his house on the roadside. No larger than a small shed, a tiny wooden structure on stilts, accessed by a rickety ladder. He feeds his only cow, actually a domesticated cross between a cow and a gaur. A simple life, but wonderful panoramic views, clear air, and obvious happiness. A red-scented bulbul, a crimson sunbird, black, spangled and bronzed drongos, a puff-throated babbler, to name but a few. Every living thing is revered and protected in Bhutan, from the smallest insect to the largest animal. Villages beyond Trashigang, vegetable dyes made from local crops of indigo, turmeric and madder, raw silk and hand weaving, home distilled rice wine, strong and like a clear brandy, lemongrass growing profusely along the roadside, prayer flags erected to protect the spirits of the dead, a deeply Buddhist community, rice grown on terraced land, the staple diet of the Bhutanese people, with the addition of fiery red chilies seen drying on large cloths in every village. Hedges of huge poinsettia bushes in full flower, intense carmine red flowers against clear cobalt blue skies, pink cherry blossom in full flower, stupas everywhere, to remember those who have passed on to another life. Trashigang, a thriving centre where people from the remote village communities come to sell and exchange their goods. Monks from the local zong mingle with the locals, dressed in their rich red garb. Beautiful, ornately carved and decorated wooden shop fronts, and groups of men in their traditional dress, playing card and board games on the roadside in the centre of the villages. A smoking ban, with a threat of a 9-year prison sentence if discovered. No beggars. It is forbidden to give anything to the children. They are said to be the happiest people in the world, very warm and friendly, and eager to test out their English, which they learn at school. A festival with music and dancing, archery, the national sport, and darts. Everyone dressed in their best national costumes. The return journey. Orchids and pink, purple single peonies growing wild. Rock bees' nests high up above the road. One treacherous, narrow mud road, constantly under repair, and huge lorries trying to move in both directions, gridlocked with sheer drops of loose earth, mud and gravel falling steeply to the valley bottom. Immigrant Indian labourers and their families live in small corrugated iron shacks along the roadside. No schooling for the children, constantly repairing the road surfaces. Billows of dust rising up as the traffic passes at a snail's pace. Beautiful, happy-looking people. I'll never forget those images. Back into India. A pale lilac house, women in washed-out but vivid mauve saris, and washing of all shades of purple, just with one orange towel hanging to dry, all surrounded by tall, thin coconut palms and lit by a strong, dappled sunlight. Getting close to Calcutta now. Distant hills, indistinguishable in a blanket of acrid yellow pollution. A long train, moving very slowly, emerges from the thick mist. Figures just visible, standing at the open carriage doors. We arrive in Kolkata for our flight back to England.